All right. Well, good. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. We will be working on our own sort of freeing ourselves from any hangups that we might be harboring today. The goal of today's class is just to release things that no longer serve you, right? So throw off those shackles of self-constraint. And that might mean not going into the most advanced modification in any particular pose. If your body wants to rest or if you want to modify, please do. So today we're actually going to begin in reclining butterfly, right? So you're going to bring the soles of the feet together, lie yourself down. Some of you might want to put a block or a book or some pillows underneath the thighs if you want that support. Otherwise, you can let gravity just do its thing. Take a moment to tuck your shoulder blades onto the back body. And then just a nice natural curve in the cervical spine so your chin is pretty much facing up towards the ceiling. And the arms can extend alongside the thighs. Some of you may prefer to reach the arms overhead or to clasp opposite elbows overhead as well, whichever is most comfortable. And just allow yourself to soften into the mat, let the hips gently open. Once you're comfortably in your reclining butterfly, consider closing the eyes, placing perhaps, if you like, the right hand on the heart and the left hand on the belly. Otherwise, arms can stay as they were alongside the thighs or overhead, whichever again is most comfortable. And then checking in with your breath. Just feel it as it comes in and as it goes out. And now begin to regulate the breath, utilizing your pranayama, finding that balance between inhalations and exhalations. Nice, long, deep, steady breaths in and out through the nose. Some of you might like to utilize your ujjayi or victorious breath, which is a slight hugging into the back of the throat. And that may make an oceanic sound. As long as you're conscious of the breath in the present moment, then that's a good place to begin your practice. We'll take a few more breaths here. On the next exhalation, allow the palms to come together at the heart. Begin to rub to cultivate some warmth. And then sharing that warmth with yourself, with the right hand come to the heart, and symbolically with those around us and beyond left on top. And perhaps setting an intention for your practice. And today, perhaps you're also looking into maybe anything that you'd like to free yourself of, any thoughts or behaviors that no longer serve you. And on the next exhalation, we'll draw the knees in towards the armpits, right? So giving ourselves just a little bit more deepening to the hip flexors, and you could rock from side to side. Then we'll draw the knees together to give ourselves a deeper hug. Again, rocking from side to side with the length of the spine. And on the next exhalation, we'll draw the knees again, sort of to the outsides of the ribs and the soles of the feet towards the ceiling, coming into our happy baby pose. And feel free to be static or to rock. So if you're holding on behind the thighs or taking hold of the shins or maybe the feet, energetically draw your sit bones back down to the mat. They may certainly lift, but energetically draw them down. And some of you might want to work one leg towards straight and then the other, or both simultaneously. And so the hips and the lower chakras are said to hold our sankara or stored mental aversions, our Gordian knots. Right? So just allowing things to release, to open. And then as we exhale, we'll give ourselves another hug. And then release the feet down onto the ground so that the ankles are beneath the knees. Tuck your shoulder blades again onto the back body and let your palms face one another in like a robot position with the elbows down on the mat by the ribs. And then we're just going to play with mobilizing the pelvis. So we're going to tilt the pelvis so that the low back lifts and establish more of that lumbar curve. And as we exhale, we'll flatten it out. So we'll tuck the pelvis. So do that a few times. It's a subtle movement, but you'll feel the significant difference in the low back. Amy talks about having sort of a cherry tomato or grape that you're going to create some space for, and then you'll squish it. Right? So try that rocking just a few more times. And then with that space, right, you could even slide your fingertips underneath to see that it's there, but you'll be able to feel that. Pressing into the balls of the feet and toning your core will lift the hips up into our bridge pose. And hold there, hug your shins in, activate your glutes, and then just take a few breaths. Consider lifting all 10 toes so that you feel more weight shift into the balls of the feet. And then on the exhalation, we'll lower the sit bones down with about halfway of that curve, right? So we're not exaggerating, it's just a natural lumbar. And on the inhalation, we'll lift, and as we get to the top, we'll energize the glutes a little bit more, and then exhale and lower. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, and exhale, release. Pressing into the feet, inhale, exhale, lower, and one more time, good. So we'll hold here. Some of you might want to work your right leg up towards the ceiling for a modification, or crossing the right ankle to the outside and on top of the left thigh for figure 4. You could also walk your hands underneath the hips to get a little more lift and to start to stretch into the wrists. So any of those variations. When and if you're ready to come down, you just lower the sit bones, and we'll come back into our reclining butterfly. So if you're working, take another few breaths. Make sure you're doing both sides. If you're resting, just resume your pranayama. Again, notice the breath. Make sure it's steady and equal with inhalations and exhalations. And you're always welcome to stay here, or if you're prepared for another couple bridge poses, we're going to tuck the feet again beneath the knees and then lift the hips. And then we're going to synchronize the movement. So on the next inhalation, sweep the arms overhead. And as we exhale, we'll lower the sit bones and the palms down by the ankles. And then inhale, lift, arms reach up and over, and exhale and lower. So do that a few times on your own at the pace of your breath. And again, remember to maintain muscle energy. So your shins are hugging in, glutes are engaged, navel up and in, supporting your low back. And then the next time the sit bones and the palms come down, pause there. We'll take the feet slightly wider than the hips, so let the knees draw together like a little tent. If that's enough stretch, you'll stay here. If you want to go a little further, we'll step the right ankle on top of and to the outside of the left thigh, like we did for our figure 4. We'll lower both knees over to the right. You can reach the arms out for support, maybe even rolling the chin towards the left shoulder. But both shoulder blades stay on the mat. You could resist up with the bottom leg and press down with the top. And then at some point, release to go a little deeper. And then tone and inhale slip the right foot back down and we'll take the opposite side. So the right knee draws towards the left ankle and then the left ankle steps on top of it to the outside of the right thigh and both knees descend over to the left. When it feels balanced, we'll slowly come back to the center. We'll step the left foot down. And then from here, one more time, we'll hug the knees into the chest, give ourselves a squeeze, and then we're gonna rock and roll. So consider the length of the spine. If your spine's too prominent or if you don't have enough padding, don't worry about it, just hang out for a moment. Otherwise, we're gonna rock ourselves up and not let the heels touch. Try to stall it out when you get to the top and like freeze frame it. Make some cool, like stuck in space. Yeah, good. Find a good expression. Maybe reach your arms out in front. Some of you might even do it with the legs straight. Take your boat pose. Good. Couple more breaths. Lift the chest on that inhalation to come up. And then from all poses, we'll meet in an upright position and we'll just give ourselves a hug. Curl it in.